Okay, so here we go. Step one, and this is a hypothesis test specifically where we know what sigma is. Do you remember how last chapter when we didn't know what sigma was, when we only knew what S was, then we'd have like a different, we'd have to do like a T, use a T chart, right, in the back of your book instead of a Z chart? Same kind of thing here. Okay, so I'm not doing that. Yeah, they suggest to teach you p-values first, which I do not agree with. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to verify that sigma is known. And that the population is normal. Or n is greater than or equal to 30. This is in the problem, and that means you can do this test. And if these conditions aren't met, then you can't do this test. There's other tests you could do. All right. Next up, you are going to identify the null and alternative hypothesis. That's H sub O and H sub A. Remember that the one that has the equals to is an H sub O, and the not equals to is an H sub A, or it could be like less than or equal to, greater than or equal to here, less than, greater than there. So basically, if there's an equals to sign somewhere in there, that's the H sub O. For the next one, oh, and you probably should also identify which one's the claim. Okay, after that, you use the level of significance they give you. To find a critical value. And this is using the chart on A16, or a Z, the Z-score one. And alpha is the level of significance. Okay, I'm also going to write over here to remember, in the remember part, draw a picture. This really helps. All right, and then step 4. Step 4 is to determine the rejection regions. Again, draw a picture. Then you find the standardized test statistic. Which is going to be a Z-score. And that formula is x bar minus mu over sigma divided by the square root of n. And then finally, you accept or reject the claim. Well, actually, no, you accept or reject the null first. And then you accept or reject the claim. And you reject if it's in the rejection region. I know up until this point you've just been like blindly copying this stuff down, right? And probably you recognize that H sub O, H sub A stuff. And this kind of looks like x minus mu over sigma, right? Like more like that central limit theorem one, x minus mu over sigma divided by the square root of n. That looks a little familiar. All of this should look pretty confusing though, right? So we're going to do a few problems now together where you're going to feel a lot better about it. It's really not that challenging or difficult, but it looks very confusing at first. So I'm going to leave this up for just a second longer to make sure everybody has a copy down. And then we're going to try a couple. And we're only doing that back side of that page there. Yeah, I think I'm only going to give you like 5 problems tonight and maybe 5 problems tomorrow, and 3 of them will be really fast and 2 of them will be longer, okay? It'll go fast. All right, here we go. And these are examples of what I mean by longer problems, story problems. Okay. Employees at a construction and mining company. I always think it's funny when kids are like, oh, there's story problems in statistics. And I'm like, oh, it's like only story problems in statistics. Like, my goodness. Employees at a construction and mining company claim that the mean salary of the company's mechanical engineers is less than one of its competitors, which is $68,000. A random sample of 20 of the company's mechanical engineers has the mean salary of $66,900. Assume that the population standard deviation, okay, do you see the words population standard deviation here? That's sigma. I'm going to write it down. Sigma is 5,500. And it says it's normal. So I'm just going to write step 1, check. We know that we have a sigma and that it's normal. Step 2, I think, was the H sub O, H sub A. All right, somebody from yesterday want to tell me maybe what the H sub O and H sub A are in this. It says that they claim that the mean salary of the company's mechanical engineers is less than $68,000. Go ahead. Mu, yep, the mean. Agreed. Is that, which one is that? Yeah, H sub A. So mu is less than $68,000. And Krista and Megan, the only way you can tell the difference between an H sub O and an H sub A, this is the null and this is the alternative hypothesis. This one doesn't have an equals to sign. Okay, so what's the opposite of mu is less than $68,000? Yep.
So it would be mu is greater than or equal to whatever the number is.
$68,000, yep. And then we have to write down which one's the claims. I'm going to write claim next to this one right here. Because they're saying that it's less than. Why does the company want to say this? Oh, it says that the employees. So it looks like the employees, like in this problem, are basically saying, look, we paid less than this other company and we can prove it. Do you see what I mean? And like they want, obviously they want raises. They're not like, yay, we're paid less. You know, like they're like, this, let's prove it that this is a problem. All right, so we've already got that done. Step 3. Use the level of significance to find a critical value. All right, everybody draw a bell curve.